Welcome to the City of Eureka Springs City Council meeting for August the 22nd. Called the meeting to order now. Madam Clerk, would you establish the roll, please?
Terry McClung.
Here.
Vicki Snyder.
Here.
Bob Thomas.
Here.
Christy Kendrick.
Here.
James DeVito.
Here.
David Mitchell.
Here.
We have 6.
Tonight as Mayor Pro Tem, I'm sitting in for Mr. Butchberry, the mayor, who is not available tonight, in case everybody's wondering why there's a change. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion for approval of the agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay.
And
Yes,
if I don't
ma'am.
hear anything from you, it's an aye. I'm going to count it as a positive vote.
Oh, yeah, thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I forget. You can always hit me or kick me. Approval of the minutes.
Move
Motion.
to approve. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Aye for me. We have a proclamation here that our mayor received for Patriotism Week proclamation from the ELKS, and he has asked me to read that into the record at this time, which I will do. It says, Patriotism Week proclamation. Whereas the benevolent and protective order of ELKS through its constitution is a patriotic order, and whereas the order promotes the ideals that the citizens of this nation live in freedom, won through the great sacrifices and many tribulations which have provided the foundation for a free, prosperous, and independent life, and whereas we realize that each generation must work to maintain this freedom, otherwise through carelessness or indifference the rights and liberties enjoyed may vanish, and whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize this freedom and to honor the nation which provides it now, therefore I, Robert D. Berry, Mayor of this city town of Eureka Springs, do hereby proclaim September the 5th through the 11th of the year 2016 as National Patriotism Week. During this event, urge all citizens to join with the benevolent and protective order of ELKS in expressing gratitude for the privilege of American citizenship with appropriate celebrations and observances. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city town of Eureka Springs to be affixed this first day of September 2016. Attest, Butchberry. Go to you, or okay. We're ready for commission, committee, authority reports and expired terms. The first one is planning. We have a application, I believe, in our packets that were received last time for position 1 to vote on Ann Tandy-Sallee. May I have some of the council members' input on this. Yes, sir.
I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve Ms. Sallee
I'll second.
for this position.
Okay. Is there any discussion at this time on that motion?
She should be good.
Okay. Roll call vote. All in,
Voice is okay.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Sallee. You're official. CAPC. Before we open this discussion, I need to ask our attorney something. Exactly, reading back on the information that established the CAPC, it looks like the function of the council at this point, since the CAPC already voted on these two members, is to confirm them or to vote on them one way or another, I guess.
That is correct. The power line with the council at this point is to reject or deny each individual but they're nominated just as the mayor would nominate anybody normally on other commissions. They're nominated and approved, so that individual then is brought for a vote, and if approved, or if you sustain their recommendation that has been made by the CAPC, then they'll be placed on the council. If they're not, then the CAPC will have to go back and draw a new name for that particular slot.
Okay. I just wanted some clarification for the record.
May I clarify, is it like advice and counsel by the Senate of federal judicial nominees?
Very similar. Yes.
Ah.
At this time, could we take up position 1 confirmation?
James has
discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I move to accept the nomination of Susan Harman for position 1.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on the confirmation of Susan Harman to position 1 for the CAPC? That can be a voice vote. Yes, sir.
I can just speak for Susan that unlike other nominees, she's attended, at least for the last year of all the meetings of the A&P, and obviously has a good grasp of tourism. She has the 5 Joe Inn, and she seems very active and interested in serving the community in that capacity. So we're excited to have her on the commission.
Appreciate that input. I've watched her on planning and have noticed very nice qualities of a citizen that stepped up to the plate. Are we ready for the vote then, guys? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Congratulations, Susan. At this time, can we take up position 4 confirmation or voting for Damon Henke? Yes, sir.
I move to accept the nomination of Damon Henke for position 4 on the CAPC.
Second.
Is there discussion? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Miss Snyder, yes.
I've probably known Damon in one way or another almost since he's been here. And when it comes to our CAPC, I have a real problem with someone who puts his personal preference and goals and aims ahead of the city. As in, when we were doing our best to get Ordinance 2223 passed to make equality fair for all people and against discrimination. And at the time he was, I'll say, representing the Passion Play. They got millions and millions of dollars of free advertising for fighting us on this to basically better his own pockets. He didn't care what our people wanted. He didn't care how our people felt. He didn't care that in Eureka Springs we believe in equality and no discrimination. And
Point of order.
That
Are we talking about the same person?
oh yes, we sure are. And if I can finish, so I have a major problem with that situation.
Do we continue this?
We should go for the city first, not
Should be
ourselves.
voting on whether the point of orders.
I'm done
Are you finished, Miss Snyder? Okay.
on that
Does
part.
anybody else have any discussion at this time on the motion? Yes, sir.
I don't have a discussion, but I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this not the same person? Or I don't know.
Well,
This is new information to me. I've not heard anything like that before regarding him.
and regardless, I mean, a person is entitled to have his own opinion on issues of his choice. I mean, hey, the guy does a good job. The guy does a good job on the CAPC.
Let's vote. Should we vote on that point of order? Do we have? It's still on the table.
No, I'll withdraw it.
You'll withdraw it. Thank you. Okay. I just want to keep it in line here. We have a nomination and we have a second. At this time, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
How many is that, ma'am?
3?
Nays.
Nay. Whatever. Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
That's present.
3, 1, 1.
And I have the right to vote?
Yes.
You do?
Nay.
Whoa.
3, 2, 1. Motion fails.
In pass or in tied?
Motion fails. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, moving on. Hospital. Position 5 is vacant if anybody out there is interested in volunteering. Parks Director is here. I think you're here for the discussion about the smoking thing, which is an agenda topic, but did you have anything else you want a moment to tell us, sir?
As far as the rules of order, I'm not sure how it goes.
You're invited to say something at this point.
Thanks for the invite tonight. Come over and talk about our smoking policies. We're something we started talking about on our council, and we're glad to bring to this level.
We'll save smoking for the agenda down here.
Oh, okay. Did
you have anything else you wanted to tell us?
I did. I also wanted to bring to the front to start a discussion regarding the vacation of properties in the city as well. We would like to have a consideration of a moratorium on vacations while we revisit our ordinance, our processes, our motivations, and in order to preserve our green space and meet the needs of our citizens, and to make sure we streamline our processes, that our citizens who apply for these know what the potential costs are to these things for surveys, things of that nature, evaluate what we're receiving for those as well. As most of you know, I'm relatively new. We've been dealing with one vacation since before I started here, with Mr. Gherkin's vacation, which has some nuances and property values, but things like that, I think some of those things could have been addressed on the front side. If you go through this, any additional costs will be shouldered by them, something to that effect.
Yes, Mr. McClellan.
Well, it's always been my opinion, and this is just my opinion, that the city should never relinquish that privilege in the first place, because they should always have the availability to vacate properties when the need arises, if it's to the good of the city or it's not detrimental to the city. There are a lot of properties in this town that are not good for parks as far as trails.
Sure.
Nor are they of any use to the city, because they won't be able to ever be used as streets. There are some streets that could someday be opened back up, and we need to be real careful about giving those away. But it's every citizen's right. If a street is not used, or alleyway is not being used, then and it's something that they want to petition for, they should be allowed to do so. Now, I agree that the process is very time consuming, and that part of it's never been good, and I've hated that. But that's because of what previous administrations had done in giving that privilege to parks.
Sure.
To be in charge of it all. I never agreed with that concept, but I wasn't on at that time.
Mr. DeVito. Sir.
We're in the process of trying to establish an agenda item for a future meeting, so I would ask council to save this discussion
Sure,
for that meeting, please.
That's fine.
Aye.
Good point.
Sure.
You okay?
I'm good.
You're welcome, sir. HDC is not here, and Cemetery also has a position number 5 that is vacant. So if anybody out there is interested in volunteering, we would certainly appreciate that. At this time, it's time for public comments, and we're checking. There are no public comments tonight, so we will move forward to new business. Motion to
So moved.
number 1.
So moved.
You're back
To
up.
outlaw
So-
smoking. I second the motion to outlaw smoking in all city parks.
Yes, sir. You're back. Does any of the council have any? You just let him do his. You want to do your intro first, then?
Sure.
Okay.
We have some handouts to distribute. There's some brief example ordinances from neighboring cities addressing the same similar issues.
Pass these down. I think these are. Oh, I see. They're paper clipped. Okay.
That's all one. That's one.
Do you need it?
Package.
Yeah.
Should be.
Oh,
So
Is there enough of them
each
for everybody?
bundle has enough for
You can have one.
everybody
It
at the table?
should have 3 copies of examples and one very, very rough draft that I basically just put together to
Ordinance.
look at.
This may have more in some of that unique legends.
Very good.
Short one.
Did everyone end up with
Four.
four?
I get 4?
so
units?
4 staple doohickeys.
1997.
Everyone has to do it.
Did you get a set? 'Cause
You can keep it.
May I ask what
you'll swipe
city
hands.
this is from?
Let's see.
This is Valley
Valley
Springs.
Springs City Park. Which city is that?
I don't have either one of those.
Well, here, have one of them.
Harrison.
Very well.
Okay, we've got Berryville and Harrison. I see those. Okay.
And then last page. So they're all very similar. Some nuances for each specific areas. But to kind of back up why I'm here, and again, I thank you for inviting me tonight. We were approached several weeks ago, a month ago perhaps, by Ms. Brenda Patterson from the Carroll County Health Coalition. Madison County. I always get wrong. You're in group wrong. Discussing the smoking in the parks. Now, Parks already has a policy of no smoking. Basin Spring Park has no policy, has signs, all that. And a parallel issue that was happening similarly when Brenda came through was a discussion with the police that there's no ordinance. We have a policy, but there's no ordinance behind it, so there's no way to write a citation or to make someone stop technically, even at that point. So what I'm proposing here and what we're looking at, and there is some nuances. I'm not proposing a blanket ban of smoking in all city parks. And there's a reason why, and that reason is Lake Leatherwood. There's some nuances when you're renting campsites. If someone's there, outdoor, open air, a little bit of a gray area on that, and I think it's hard to enforce and hard to go forward. So what I've done is we've picked out our Basin Springs, all playgrounds, skate park, dog parks, facilities, all 25 feet away from that are entrances, which mirrors the city policy for employees already for smoking in vehicles or near buildings is 25 feet from any entrances. So this addresses our core areas. We're talking about playgrounds. The areas in the park. The health issues are well known of smoking. One that maybe everybody doesn't consider, one of the bane of our existence in park maintenance are cigarette butts. Just everywhere. Just everywhere. They have a half-life of thousands and thousands of years. Unsightly, unsafe. Kids can pick them up. Secondhand smoke. There's third-hand smoke. I'm learning now, residuals from all of those things. So, and as far as Basin Park goes, Bluegrass Weekend's a good example, or drumming in the park, anything like that. We have people packed into that park. Someone's smoking, or even right on the railing, that smoke's still coming into there and affecting their enjoyment of the site. One of our commissioners used the example of you can go in the park and swing your arms around all you want, but when you start hitting somebody in the face with them, then it becomes a problem. And that's kind of how the smoking affects people, is that it does affect people around them. It's not just a personal right and a personal space issue. There's plenty of examples around town. I think there's certainly room for some discussion, to get the specifics of it go. But I do believe we need an ordinance. I do believe we need to be able to ticket people and move people out of the areas in those designated spots. And any discussion on everything else, I'll leave to everybody else. So we're just going to talk about our parks on that. So I'm not coming up with a citywide ban or anything of the like on that. But I do think it's appropriate for children, for our playgrounds, for the enjoyment of everyone, that we do consider an actual ordinance to give this some teeth.
Do we allow smoking in the Leatherwood cabins?
No. Not inside the building, nor the bathhouse, not inside any structures.
Do we have problems with discarded cigarette butts in campsites and things like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So why would we not want to extend it to all of Leatherwood?
That's a question of attendance and right usage, and I think that generally, that's can be addressed somewhat with education and working forward, but I'm just hesitant to make a blanket decision on that park-wide. I think we can try and address those with some other means and some education, signage as part of the process. It'll go through as well. And hopefully, as we get to do more programming, educational programming, there's some great programs out there of cigarette butts. That's how long it takes to go. You put one in a glass of water, it turns completely brown. Like I said, it's just the data's there. It's a matter of where we want to balance what we need to do for comfort and rights, really. I guess still is an argument for that.
Ms. Snyder.
One of the things that people have to understand is we're a tourist town. We have vacationers, telling them they can't smoke where they're sleeping in their campsites, the same thing, you can't smoke in your house. There are certain things that we have to put up with in order to keep having people coming. Telling them they can't smoke in their campsites, like saying you can't drink soda. You just can't do it. You just have to put up with it. But my big question was on Basin Park. I know when we worked on this before, I want to say we had the street side was where you could smoke, like the sidewalk or something, or did we actually
I've
make
seen
people
it in
walk in
several
the street?
ways.
I don't remember.
It's one of those you go back through and there's several drafts and versions, and I don't know exactly.
Okay, would you prefer to allow them to smoke as they're like coming up the stairs and going down the sidewalk and then up Spring? Do you want them to smoke there, or do you want them to
I would
take the
prefer
street?
smoking be banned 25 feet from the boundaries of the park.
Okay, would that be the
Which would put them
sidewalk
across
on the
would
other
basically
side?
across the street is what that would put that. Now that's
Okay.
those are those issues we create if we push them across to the people across the street. That's a consideration as well. So.
Mr. McClung, and then I'll get to you, Mr. Thomas. I'm sorry, not
DeVito.
Mr. McClung.
I'm done.
Every reason there is to ban smoking in Basin Park is the same reason to ban smoking in Lake Leatherwood Park. It sets a bad example for kids. It is a fire threat to the park.
Well,
It degrades people's health that participate in it. In this part of the country, less than 20% of people smoke. And most importantly, there are alternatives to cigarettes, and that is a vaporizer. And if people can't make it for the couple of days that they're going to be on the park, then they need to bring their vaporizer along with it. We're going to be sending a mixed message. You can't say it's okay to do it in this park, and it's not okay to do it in this park, because the justification for prohibiting in this park is the very same justification for prohibiting it in all the parks. We are a leader in the state of Arkansas. Harrison's trumped us on this, excuse that word. They've prohibited it in all their parks. They don't make exception to their parks. Yes, I understand where you're coming from, but we have to take the high ground here, and we have to be examples. And for no other reason than the children that are exposed to the people that are smoking is a good enough reason to prohibit it in that park. And I'll stand by the fact that they have vaporizers nowadays, so that gets away with their tobacco urge.
Mike, I guess one quick comment, if I, just on that front, is generally speaking, and in the ordinances, the vaporizers are included in the bans, because the data's not there yet on those as far as the secondhand or anything like that. So that's generally...
We can ban cigarettes.
Sure.
And that's the issue, because that's a lit product that will cause a fire, that will cause a cigarette butt to lay there for 500 years. And, profit is not the reason to allow people to exhibit bad behavior.
Mr. Thomas, you had your hand up first, and I will get to you, Ms. Snyder.
Well, I'm basically agreeing with Mr. DeVito and Christie. Sorry. you bring in these 5 arguments to ban smoking, but then you say, well, they don't apply over in Lake Leatherwood, and that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
What about like the trails in town, not Lake Leatherwood, but are the trails part of the park system?
Well, they are. I mean, that's they're under our management, or they are property. There's maybe some legal nuance in that. I'm not sure. I don't think there's a ton of trail users smoking, hopefully.
If I were a business owner across the street from Basin Park, I would just feel like you're pushing all the smokers right in front of my store.
Absolutely. So what do we have our solution for that then, I guess? I mean, what's our solution for that? If we're 25 feet away, we're pushing them somewhere unless we go citywide.
Ms. Snyder.
Keeping in mind I haven't had a cigarette for nearly 3 years now, when you talk about the well-being and the example setting for children and other people, to quote Terry in regards to food trucks, ain't our problem. That's not our responsibility.
Health and safety and welfare
That is
is
not
our
our responsibility in regards to smoking. That is their own personal right and choice until cigarettes get made illegal. Oh, yes, it is.
It's not
They
a right.
have the right to smoke if they want to. We do not have the right to tell them they don't have the right. Smoking is still legal. Cigarettes are still legal. Setting a boundary, an area, this is a smoking area, this is not, that's fine, and that would work for all parks, trails, and everything else. Going to the other extreme is taking away their personal rights, whether you like it or not.
So, based on, yes, Mr.
With all due respects, there is no right to smoke, period. That is
Are they
not
illegal?
Okay.
No. Therefore, it's a right.
You can't drink on the street either, and that's legal.
That's a
I'd
law.
like to ask the council to some direction for parks. Would we like to ask them to go back and review the discussion that was here and bring a draft ordinance back, giving consideration to what was said here among their group? How we want to proceed? Yes, Mr. DeVito.
Well, the ordinance will have to be drafted by the city attorney. If Parks would like to proffer, some guidance to the city attorney, I'm 100% in favor of that.
Don't you? I think they should come back with something a little bit firmer and then we can look at it before it goes to the attorney, obviously to save time and stuff. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, Ms.
I would like the ordinance to ban smoking, both cigarettes and tobacco products, other than vaporizers, in all the parks and the trails.
Their whole system.
The whole
Yes,
system.
ma'am. Okay.
And that's what I would like to see in that ordinance.
Is that yes, sir?
We could be specific to ban cigarettes and smokeless. No, that wouldn't work either. Because if you ban smokeless tobacco,
Tobacco
then you
products.
chewing
Tobacco
tobacco.
products is cigarettes, chewing, pipes, cigars.
I have a pretty detailed description on most of those, kind of the standard catch-all of most of those. Like I said, it does, but they do include the electronic cigarettes. I think that's something that warrants discussion. I mean, if we're going through, if we're going through health concerns and those issues, I think that's something that should be weighed in. Perhaps as a workshop topic. Or
I don't have a problem banning everything.
Right.
You have a problem.
I don't have a problem banning everything.
Mr.
I
McClung,
do.
you wanted to say something, sir?
And as a way you should.
Well,
Either
I mean,
way.
yeah, if you're going to ban them, cover it all. Do it all. Because we don't know what the vapes and what the e-cigarettes and what they're really putting out there. So it's.
Well, I heard if you drink the stuff that's in the vapes, you get in real trouble. So I got that one down.
So, will you drink some of it? You got it down?
The kids are using it as a substance.
Oh, they are.
Isn't it supposed to be being made illegal?
So, do you have you gotten some feedback from us?
Very similar to what I've just heard around the table, actually. I would say is the discussions that we've had as this has come up.
So you could go back to Parks and come up with something that's a little bit firmer that we could see back.
You might want to look at the attorney.
The city attorney
Oh, the
has
city attorney wants to weigh in on this.
Before you get too in love with your 25-foot rule, that's a taking, and the city would be responsible for paying potentially heavy monies to anyone that owned property within 25 feet of the park.
Right.
So use the border of the park, please.
Order of the park.
part and territory that you have control over.
And I think you'll look at these ordinances that Harrison has beat us to. They don't ban the 25 feet either, because they're aware of that.
Would it be helpful for Parks to draft something, or would it be easier for you just to start?
They've got
They have.
a pretty good-looking draft.
It's
started here.
I get really. I mean, to me, and I mean, from what I mean, the decision to be made is the extent of it, and that's something to discuss. That I mean, we can kind of provide a recommendation that we sort of have here, I guess. So that's something I guess for y'all to take up with us. And
Could we ask you though to draft this conversation in an ordinance form, just like you did, closer to this, so when we look at it one more time and we hand it to the attorney, the minimal amount of time needs to be done on it.
I'm not quite.
I see what you're saying.
You
Okay.
want a work?
No,
Ma'am?
I was going to say, do you want one short workshop?
no.
Oh, I don't think that's.
I don't think we
necessary.
need I don't think we need a workshop, but I'll leave that open
No.
to y'all. I would hope that y'all, that's my Texas, I'm sorry about that, snuck in here. Does council want a workshop?
Apparently not.
Okay.
I do have
So-
one question, just for the city attorney. When you do ordinances, are they done in any order? Would food truck have to be done before this one is done?
The food truck one, as I understand it right now, is being worked on by the mayor. Various people put drafts together at various times. Just whenever they're given to me is when I get them and put them to final say for you guys to look at.
I thought it was you and the mayor working on
The
that.
mayor is going to do a rough draft based on, since he was at the various workshops, he's working on that directly, as I understand it.
That's true.
Rather than me going back and reviewing your workshops
Yeah.
for hours.
Remember, the mayor doesn't get what he gets in pay. That's a nice way to put it.
To answer your question,
Mayor
receivership is
doesn't get
the
billable
order.
hours.
As he gets them, they get done. Doesn't matter what order.
So we're
The quicker they're
okay.
in my hand, the quicker they get done.
So we're okay with Parks going back, getting this firmed up a little bit better, and bringing it back to us at another meeting. Was that what I heard?
Yeah, I just really would like you to think about, the fact of, as a neighbor, you don't want something in your yard, so you're going to push
Sure,
it over into
absolutely.
your next door
Yeah.
neighbor's yard.
That's a very, very good point,
But
and
you
a
also
legality that's not a consideration of legality. So that's I mean.
But you also have to consider their rights.
Pardon?
You also have to consider their rights. Not illegal.
If this council were to ban smoking throughout the city, which it would
It
have
would
a
be.
power to do so.
Right, but cigarettes themselves are not illegal. And we are a tourist town.
Have we finished with this topic? Is everybody given the input to our guest? Okay, thank you, sir.
So just to clarify,
Yes,
you
sir.
want another version of, I mean, if we go back to our committee and they decide they don't want to do that, I mean, that's what we'll bring back to you
fine.
as well. I mean,
Then we'll
we're going to have to discuss it with the commission and make our recommendation, and then we'll bring back
You heard,
the next.
we basically said that you would give consideration to banning smoking
Sure.
in any facility, any
Right.
jurisdiction the park has, and don't go 25 feet.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's all tobacco products.
All tobacco products.
Was there anything else besides those 3 points, gentlemen, ladies?
I would like you to stay until the agenda setting, since you have we're interested in the moratorium.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm happy to.
Moving on. New business topic number 2, amended resolution number 679, disposal of surplus city property. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I think in your packet you will find a resolution that will need a number assigned to it. What is going on there is that our new fire chief has reviewed the list of the potential auctioning of 2 fire department vehicles and has requested to pull those back and continue to use those in service. He and his companions over there did not feel at this time that they wanted to relinquish those, that these pieces of equipment have value to the fire department, and they would prefer to keep them in their service. So a new resolution has been drafted taking the fire department equipment out of there and just leaving that, and leaving the 82 Hendrickson telesquirt ladder truck. I'm sorry, one. The police department, it was one. The police department took one back, and the fire department took one back. I messed up. Yes, sir.
Move to assign this resolution a number and to read it for passage.
I'm confused. This looks like...
Second.
I'm sorry.
Now you can talk.
Now discussion.
Yes. I'm confused. I thought it appears that we're selling it. I thought you said that they're...
I made a mistake. The Dodge Durango we're selling in one piece of the fire equipment, not both pieces. That was my misspeak, and I apologize for that. But they're keeping one piece, the ladder truck.
The ladder truck they're selling.
No, they're selling the ladder truck. We're keeping... Yes, ma'am. Help me out here. Go for it.
Initially, there was a resolution to sell to auction 3 items.
Yes.
Now, there is a resolution to auction only
One.
the telesquirt
Yes.
truck.
There
That's
we go.
it.
Clean.
Yep.
Any questions off that, since Ann clarified it eloquently? And we have a motion and we have a second.
To assign a number and read it for passage.
I do. Voice vote?
Nope.
Roll call?
Yep.
Roll call, ma'am, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Ms. Kendrick?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
6-0. The resolution number will be 687. Amending Resolution 679, authorizing the disposal of surplus city property through auction. Whereas the City Council recognizes the importance of accounting for capital items disposed of through means of auction, and whereas adherence to the previously established fixed assets policy for disposal assets, which determine that city assets, quote, should not be sold without competitive bidding if the amount exceeds $5,000. Ordinance number 1669A, passed in 7th month of 1995, end quote, will have been satisfied. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that the City Council shall accept monies realized through the live public auction of one fire department vehicle, a 1982 Hendrickson telesquirt ladder truck.
Sometime. New business, item number 3, resolution in support of Fayetteville's non-discrimination ordinance. May I have a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Second. Yes, sir.
Move to assign this resolution a number and read it for passage.
Second.
Roll call again.
Well, discussion if...
Oh, discussion, sorry. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote then.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Ms. Kendrick?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
6-0. Resolution number will be 688. Resolution in support of Fayetteville, Arkansas's efforts to ensure individual civil rights. Whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, having been informed that the state has appealed the recent decision of the Washington County Circuit Court upholding Fayetteville's Ordinance 5781 regarding individual civil rights in the case of, what is CV?
Civil.
Thank you. Civil 16586, State of Arkansas versus City of Fayetteville. And whereas the City of Eureka Springs has passed and upheld its own similar ordinance, Eureka Springs Ordinance 2223. And whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs has a strong history of supporting individual human rights. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs that this council wishes to express its support of the City of Fayetteville's continuing struggle with the state of Arkansas and various other entities wishing to overturn Fayetteville Ordinance 5781.
Moving on to unfinished business. Item number 1, ordinance to vacate a portion of Hickory Street, indeed 2 segments of Gherkin property to the city. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Yes, sir, Mr.
Move to
DeVito.
assign this ordinance a number and place it on its first reading.
Second.
Discussion. Yes, Mr. Attorney.
When you look at your copy, when the clerk, if we get that far, reads the ordinance in a moment, there will be 2 small number changes from yours. And we were trying to get a printed to legal description for the last couple of weeks. We finally got the surveyor to agree today to do that, and the surveyor, though, was unable to get it finished. He said he would have it for us about 6:30 tonight. So I went ahead and typed it in a very hurried manner this late afternoon, and we got, I think, a 4 and a 5 reversed and a 5 and a 1 reversed in the second description. She'll read it with the correct numbers.
Okay. So what it'll have is under section 1, the 5th line, the 24.15 feet will be 24.51 feet. And continuing on that same line where it says minutes 54 seconds, it will be minutes 45 seconds. And everything else has been compared with the handwritten description. So
It is my intent when, and if this is made final, is to actually take the surveyors, assuming they arrive, actual descriptions and replace my type with his. They should be now word for word.
Mr. McClung, you helped with this helped clear this up, so everything's a go?
Yeah, everything closes.
Okay.
It's all where it's supposed to be.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, there's no more discussion. Then, is it a
Voice.
first one is a voice?
yeah.
All in favor of the ordinance all in favor of the ordinance say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There you go, ma'am.
Okay, it's really to assign the number and read, put on the first reading. Okay.
Correct.
Assign the number and read it on the first
Well,
reading.
James already said that.
Did he say that? Okay.
Well, I'm just clarifying that that's what the
Yeah.
motion is.
Yeah, because he got lost.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
Okay.
the help is appreciated, of course.
Together?
That's right. Takes a village. Vote. All in favor? Did we say aye already?
No. Do we have a number?
We did.
I'm lost now.
We're signing them.
Let's vote on assigning a number and reading it. Please.
Let's vote on assigning a number and reading it. All in favor of assigning a number and reading it, say aye.
Aye.
On the opposed? No.
Okay, the ordinance number will be 2246. An ordinance vacating a portion of Hickory Street, exchanging a portion thereof for certain real property of the adjoining landowner. Whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas has reviewed the petition of the adjoining landowner, James Jim Gherkin, to vacate the area defined by the following legal description. A part of Hickory Street, Riley and Armstrong survey of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and being more particularly described as follows. Commencing at the southeast corner of Lot 6, Block 211, west side of Hickory Street of said Riley and Armstrong survey for the point of beginning. Then south, 70 degrees, 25 minutes, 45 seconds east, 30.22 feet, to the southwest corner of Lot 6, Block 211, east side of Hickory Street. Then south, 12 degrees, 34 minutes, 29 seconds west, or 201.24 feet, to the southwest corner of Lot 1, Block 211, east side of Hickory Street. Thence north, 70 degrees, 25 minutes, 45 seconds west, 30.22 feet, to the southeast corner of Lot 1, Block 211, west side of Hickory Street. Thence north, 12 degrees, 34 minutes, 33 seconds east, or 201.24 feet, to the point of beginning, containing approximately 0.139 acres more or less. And whereas Section 14-54-1042 of the Arkansas Code annotated allows the City Council to vacate certain streets, Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that Section 1, that the section described above is hereby vacated and title is hereby vested in fee simple by a quitclaim deed in the adjoining landowner James Gherkin in exchange for the area defined by the following legal description. A part of Lot 6, Block 211, lying east of Hickory Street, Riley and Armstrong survey of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and being more particularly described as follows. Commencing at the northwest corner of said Lot 6 for the point of beginning, then south 58 degrees 25 minutes 10 seconds east for 28.61 feet. Thence south 16 degrees 31 minutes 57 seconds west for 24.15 feet. Thence north 70 degrees 25 minutes. Oh, I said it the way it's written. I meant to say, go back to the beginning of that line, please. West 24.51 feet. Thence north 70 degrees 25 minutes 45 seconds west for 25.55 feet. Thence north 12 degrees 34 minutes 29 seconds east for 30.65 feet to the point of beginning, containing 0.017 acres, more or less, and all of Lot 6, Block 211, lying west of Hickory Street, Riley and Armstrong survey of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and being more particularly described as follows. Commencing at the north corner of said Lot 6 for the point of beginning, thence south 12 degrees 34 minutes 33 seconds west for 56.94 feet. Thence north 70 degrees 25 minutes 45 seconds west for 14.91 feet. Thence north 27 degrees 36 minutes 7 seconds east for 57.08 feet to the point of beginning and containing 0.01 acres, more or less. Section 2, that the normal fee associated with the vacation of city streets in the Armstrong and Riley survey is hereby waived as a result of the exchange of the property. Section 3, that the real property received from Mr. Gherkin shall be joined with the area of Hickory Street defined by the following legal description and placed under the control of the Parks Department as green space, as otherwise defined by City Code. A part of Hickory Street, Riley and Armstrong survey of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and being more particularly described as follows. Commencing at the north corner of Lot 6, Block 211, lying west of Hickory Street for the point of beginning. Then south, 32 degrees, 26 minutes, 52 seconds east for 42.4 feet to the northwest corner of Lot 6, Block 211, lying east of Hickory Street. Thence along the west line of said Lot 6, being the east line of Hickory Street, south 12 degrees 34 minutes 29 seconds west for 30.65 feet. Thence north 70 degrees 25 minutes 45 seconds west for 30.22 feet to the west line of Hickory Street. Thence along the west line of Hickory Street, north 12 degrees 34 minutes 33 seconds east for 56.94 feet to the point of beginning and containing 0.03 acres, more or less.
Yes, Mr. DeVito.
Move to approve ordinance number 2246 on its first reading.
Second.
Discussion. Yes, sir.
No.
Oh, no discussion? Yes, sir.
A couple of questions. Right? This is one area. Speaking of here, up here. That's what it is.
Yes.
And that's what it is, not an R.
Actually, these are two portions.
Oh, that's
you
two.
probably
Okay.
should say area,
Okay.
and then it would be.
Okay.
But these are two actual combined descriptions.
Okay.
Because there's two separate size property tracts there. You'll find this one, the first one, is
City to Gherkin.
but there's two pieces of property in that.
Map is good.
Two separate areas of land.
Okay.
So
It makes two squares, or one square and one triangle, actually.
So nobody's recommending a change, it's okay as it's written?
It should be fine.
Well, it should be areas instead of sections, shouldn't it?
I would use sections because that's what the actual surveyor used. It should be sections instead of section in that instance.
I was going to change it to the section above described, but it's really two sections.
It's really two
Got
sections.
it.
It's really two separate
Sections are,
squares.
okay. Thank you.
How do we handle that change now? An amendment when we read it?
No,
second
no.
time? No, it's okay?
No.
Never mind. Leave it alone?
Let me fix it, okay? I'll make
She
it.
read it the other way. So
She read it that way, I got it.
And the second part is Gherkin, what he's giving the city, and then the third is what the city will retain.
Right.
So
I
everything's
didn't
okay
realize
now.
there were two separates up here.
there's actually 4 little pieces of property here.
Okay.
And we can
All
use some
little tiny
voice.
Yes.
sections.
Everybody okay under discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yes, Mr. DeVito.
I'd like to speed it up just a little bit and suspend the rules and place ordinance number 2246 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
Discussion. Voice vote again?
Nope.
No, sorry, okay.
That's why I hold this up, so you'll know.
Swat you with it.
Oh, on the second one, okay, whatever.
Because he suspended the rules.
Thank you, that's right. I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Together?
See, I don't pay any attention when I'm sitting down there.
It's fine. All right. Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Kendrick?
Yes.
6-0. Ordinance number 2246, an ordinance vacating portion of Hickory Street, exchanging a portion thereof for certain real property of the adjoining landowner.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to approve ordinance number 2246 on its second reading.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Voice.
Any discussion?
Voice.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Second reading done. Onward we go. That was the end of unfinished business. It's now time to go to agenda setting. And I'll go around the room, starting with Mr. Thomas. Did you have anything, sir?
Nothing?
Mr. McClung, sir.
No, sir.
Mr. DeVito, sir.
I'll defer to the Parks Director if you'd like to verbalize, a vacation on, a moratorium on vacating green space. That's what we're looking for? Okay, I'll make that motion. Moratorium on the vacation of green space.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
No,
No.
not on this.
Oh, that's right, it's agenda setting. Okay. That's,
You're doing fine.
I'll pass me and go to
Yeah, nothing.
Vicki. Yes, ma'am?
I would like to discuss rescinding ordinance number 1628, which was the ordinance whereby the city did cede jurisdiction over the green zones to parks.
Do what?
Rescinding
I would
ordinance.
like to discuss the city taking jurisdiction of the unopened streets and alleys back
From parks?
from parks.
What is that ordinance number?
That's ordinance number 1628.
So I'll
Do I hear a second? Yeah. Okay.
second it.
All right, sir. I have to add to the agenda the December 31st, 2014 City of Eureka Springs regulatory basis financial statements and other reports from the Legislative Joint Auditing Committee that we need to deal with.
Acknowledge
receipt of.
Second.
And at the second time, we need to also add City of Eureka Springs regulatory basis financial statement and other reports from December 31st, 2013 from the Legislative Joint Auditing Committee, which we didn't confirm that we
Second.
received. And remind you, hopefully you all got these with the yellow cover from that group. And obviously we can discuss those at that time. Did I miss? Everybody got their agenda topics? We're okay with it? All right. City Council comments. Let me go in reverse, Ms. Kendricks.
I don't have any further comments.
Mr. Yes, Ms. Snyder. Ms. Snyder.
I just want to say this year was year number 6 for the EUREKA, and it has been the best so far for the city in regards to many people shopping, staying, eating, spending buku bucks for almost a week. It was awesome. This year we had no injuries or accidents, which is always good. We don't appreciate the deer running into the bikes. We don't like having dead bodies floating down the lake, which turned out to be a sleeping drunk. And no drunks ran me over directing traffic. So it was a very good year. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. By the second year, we were in the top 3 in the nation. This sporting event, this 3-day sporting event. So it does the city an awful lot of good. And we really appreciate the local people putting up with a couple of hours on Saturday, the Main Street problem. It's just because of the way Eureka's built, guys, sorry. But it is excellent, and we're doing even better. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, Mr. DeVito.
No comment?
Mr. McClung.
Time marches on. Bluegrass Festival's over. Kids are back in school. The dynamics change a little bit around town. Just a reminder that the weekend of September 10th, there'll be jazz music at the auditorium with the Brubeck Brothers. And that's with a $10 discount, locals discount, that's a $20 ticket, general admission. It's going to be a great show. I encourage one and all to attend and to be sure. And if you're in the lodging business, let your guests know.
Good.
It'll be fun.
Mr. Thomas, sir.
Only I think that we have consensus that our budget workshop before the second meeting of each city council monthly meeting will begin at 5:15 instead of 5:30.
We concur with you, sir. We never usually ask, but does our attorney have anything that you felt that you wanted to?
Nothing.
Okay, just give you a shot. The clerk. Ms. Mann?
Oh, you are a daring man.
I'll be very, I know it's a council meeting, but was there something? All right. Some days I am, yes, ma'am. As far as the mayor comments, upcoming events on August the 27th is the Classic VW and Foul Air VW Parade, 3 p.m. at Inn of the Ozarks Upper Loop in Spring Street. Also on the 27th is the Miss Gateway Arkansas Pageant, 7 p.m. at the auditorium. On August the 28th is the Magic Men Performance, 7 p.m. at the auditorium. On August the 31st through September the 3rd is a banjo rally all day and evening at Inn of the Ozarks. On September the 3rd is Drumming in the Park, 6 p.m., Basin Park. I want to thank the CAPC for sponsoring that and continuing that excellent event. On September the 8th, Jazz Fest Roaring Twenties Lawn Party, 7 to 10 p.m. at the Crescent Hotel. On September the 9th is the Jazz Fest Rodney Block Quartet, 7 p.m. Basin Park. September the 10th, Jazz Festival Brubeck Quartet, 7:30 p.m. Auditorium. September the 10th, the Antique Car Parade and Bank Robbery, 11 a.m. Upper Loop, Library, and Spring Street. And with that, I would entertain a motion to dissolve.
Second.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.